1. Introduction. My name is Aubrey. I live in a very big house with my husband, Finn. He is a handsome man. From the outside, our life looks perfect. Many people think we are very happy. We have a beautiful house, a nice car, and everything seems good. When I meet friends, I always smile. I try to show a happy face. People often tell me, "Aubrey, you are so lucky." But this is not the full truth. Inside, I feel very different. I am often very lonely. This feeling is always with me. My heart feels empty, like a silent room. It is a quiet sadness that stays inside me. Finn is my husband, but he is always busy. He works very hard every day. He leaves home early and comes back late. Sometimes he also works on weekends. His work is very important to him. He often talks about business meetings and projects. He is a very successful man. Because he works so much, Finn does not see my sadness. He does not notice my empty heart. When he comes home, he is usually tired. He eats dinner, maybe watches television, then goes to sleep. We do not talk much about our feelings. I want to share my thoughts, but I do not know how. I do not want to disturb him. He works hard for our life. I spend many hours alone in our big house. I walk through the quiet rooms. I look out of the windows. The house feels too quiet. Sometimes I wish Finn was home more. I try to fill my days. I read books, clean the house, and cook dinner. But the loneliness stays with me, like a constant shadow. When friends visit, I pretend everything is fine. I laugh loudly and tell happy stories. I make sure my smile is wide and bright. I do not want anyone to know my secret sadness. I do not want them to know that I am not truly happy. My heart is empty, even in this beautiful house with my handsome husband. I wish things were different, but for now I continue to smile. 2. Finn's secret. Aubrey felt a strange change in her home. Finn began to make many phone calls. These calls were always secret. He would go into another room and speak quietly. If Aubrey walked near, he quickly ended the call. He put his phone away fast. Aubrey started to feel a cold fear inside her. What was he doing? Who was he talking to? Then Finn started to leave the house at night. He said he had to work late for business meetings, but Aubrey noticed things. He dressed in his best clothes. He smelled of a different cologne. He looked happier when he left than when he was home. Aubrey would stand by the window. She watched his car drive away into the dark street. Her heart felt heavy. She thought about the secret calls and his strange trips. A terrible idea grew strong. Was Finn seeing another woman? This thought hurt her deeply. It made her feel even more lonely. One day, Aubrey decided she could not live with this fear anymore. She had to know the truth. It was a Tuesday afternoon. Finn said he had a meeting in the city. He left the house as usual. Aubrey waited for 5 minutes. Then she took her car keys. She drove slowly, following his car from a distance. She tried to stay hidden. Finn drove for about 20 minutes. He stopped his car in front of a small, busy cafe downtown. Aubrey parked her car down the street, where she could see the entrance clearly. Her hands were shaking on the steering wheel. Finn got out of his car and walked towards the cafe door. Aubrey watched him. Her breath stopped. He pushed the door open and went inside. Aubrey waited. She watched the people inside through the big glass window. Then she saw him. Finn was standing by a table. A woman was sitting there. She had long, dark hair. She looked up and smiled at Finn. Her smile was wide and warm. Finn smiled back. It was a big, happy smile that Aubrey had not seen from him in a long time. They sat down at the table. They started to talk and they laughed. Aubrey could not hear their words, but she could see their faces. Finn leaned closer to the woman. He touched her arm gently. He laughed again, a loud, joyful sound. It was the sound of a man who was truly happy, but he was happy with someone else. Aubrey felt a sharp pain in her chest. Her eyes filled with tears. Her biggest fear was now real. It was happening. She watched them for a few more minutes. Each laugh, each touch felt like a knife in her heart. Her heart felt like it was breaking into hundreds of tiny pieces. All her love and hopes for her marriage seemed to disappear. She put her head on the steering wheel. The world around her became blurry through her tears. 3. A new friend? Aubrey felt very sad after what she saw. Her heart still hurt. She knew she needed to do something different. She could not just stay in her big house feeling bad all the time. She wanted to escape her sadness. One morning, she decided to go outside. She needed to clear her head and find some peace. She chose to walk in the big park near her house. It was a place she had not visited often before. The park was a good place. There were many tall trees and green grass areas. Old people sat quietly on wooden benches. Young children played games and laughed loudly near the swings. Aubrey walked slowly along the paths. She looked at the colorful flowers and listened to the birds singing. She tried hard to think about happy things, but it was still very difficult. Her mind often went back to her pain. Still, she walked every day after that first visit. It quickly became her new daily habit. Each day, she walked for a long time, sometimes for 1 hour, sometimes for 2. She felt a little bit better when she was there. The fresh air helped her breathe more easily. The quiet nature helped her gather her thoughts. One sunny afternoon, Aubrey was sitting on a quiet bench under a large oak tree. She was watching some small birds fly from branch to branch. A man came and sat down on the other end of the same bench. He had kind eyes and a gentle smile. "Hello," he said softly. "It is a very beautiful day, isn't it?" Aubrey smiled back at him, feeling a small spark of something new. "Yes, it is," she replied. This kind man was Julian. They started to talk easily. Julian was very easy to talk to. He asked Aubrey how she was doing. Aubrey felt courage. She started to tell him a little about her sadness. She did not say many specific details about her problems, but she talked about feeling very lonely and lost. Julian listened carefully to every word. He did not interrupt her once. He just nodded sometimes, showing he understood. He seemed to care. Aubrey had not talked about her deep feelings with anyone for a very long time. It felt very good to share them with someone who listened. Julian listened with a kind and open heart. He made her feel safe and heard. After she finished talking, he told a funny story about a squirrel trying to open a bird feeder. Aubrey laughed. It was a real laugh. She had not laughed like that in many weeks. They met in the park again the very next day, and then the day after that. Julian always found ways to make her laugh and smile. He told more funny stories and shared interesting facts. He asked about her day and listened to her thoughts. He was a very good friend. When Aubrey was with Julian, she forgot her pain. She forgot her worries about her life at home. Her heart felt lighter and happier. She began to look forward to seeing him every day. The park became a special place of peace and comfort. Julian became a reason to smile. He was a new friend, and he brought light into her dark days. This new friendship was different from anything she had known recently. It helped her escape from her sadness, even if it was just for a few hours each day. She felt a real connection with him, a connection that she had missed in her life. My first lie. Finn came home late again. He looked tired. I was sitting in the living room pretending to read a book. He walked into the room and stopped. "Aubrey," he said, "where have you been all day?" His voice was not angry, just curious. He had not asked me this in a long time. My heart beat fast. I had spent many hours with Julian in the park. We had talked and laughed. It was a good day, but it was a secret. This was the first time Finn had asked me about my day in weeks. I knew I could not tell him the truth. I could not tell him about Julian. A lie came to my mind quickly. "Oh, I was with my cousin, Sarah," I said. My voice was calm, but inside I felt nervous. "We went shopping. We had coffee." I tried to sound normal, like it was nothing special. I looked at Finn. He nodded slowly. He did not ask many questions. He just seemed to accept my words. A strange feeling came over me. It was guilt. This was my first lie to Finn. We had been married for years, and I had always been honest with him. Now, a lie was on my lips. It felt wrong, like a heavy stone in my stomach. But at the same time, a small part of me felt a little bit free. Finn was busy. He did not look closely at my face. He did not see the guilt in my eyes. He just said, "That sounds nice," and walked away to the kitchen. He did not notice my red cheeks. He did not notice my hands shaking a little. He was already thinking about his work, I knew. He was always busy. His mind was always far away. This was why I felt so alone. This was why Julian was becoming important. Julian listened. Julian saw me. I sat there for a long time. I felt trapped. On one side, there was my life with Finn. It was a sad life, full of quiet evenings and unspoken words. It was a life where I felt invisible. On the other side, there were my new feelings for Julian. With him, I felt seen. I felt happy. I felt like myself again. But this new happiness was a secret. It was built on a lie. I did not know what to do. How could I live with this secret? How could I continue to lie to Finn? But how could I stop seeing Julian? He brought light into my dark days. I did not want to go back to the deep sadness. The lie made me feel bad, but the thought of losing Julian made me feel worse. I was caught between two worlds. One world was empty and safe. The other was exciting but dangerous. The danger was not just for me, but for everything I had with Finn. I closed my eyes, wishing I could find a way out of this difficult place. I just wanted to feel truly happy again without any lies. 5 people talk. One afternoon, Finn's mother came to our house. Her face was red and her eyes looked angry. She did not smile when I opened the door. "Aubrey," she said, her voice was not soft. "We need to talk." I felt a cold feeling in my stomach. I knew something was wrong. She walked into the living room and sat down on the sofa. I sat opposite her, my hands in my lap. "People in town are talking," she said slowly. Her words hit me like a stone. "They saw you, Aubrey. They saw you in the park many times, and you were not alone." My heart started to beat very fast. I knew what she meant. She was talking about Julian. I felt my face get hot. I wanted to say something, but no words came out. "They saw you with another man," she continued, her voice getting louder. "My son, Finn, is a good man. He works hard for you. This is not right, Aubrey. This is not how a wife should behave." Her words hurt me deeply. I felt shame, but also anger. She did not know my life. She did not know how lonely I was. She did not know about Finn's secret calls or the woman in the cafe. I tried to explain, but she did not let me finish. She stood up. "Think about Finn," she said. "Think about what this means for him. People are talking about our family." Then she turned and left the house. I stood there feeling like a child who had done something very bad. The house felt quiet, but inside my head there was a loud noise. That evening, Finn came home later than usual. I could see the anger in his eyes even before he spoke. His mother had called him. He walked straight to me. "What is this, Aubrey?" he asked. His voice was low, but full of anger. "My mother called me. She says people saw you with another man. Is this true?" I looked at him. All the anger and sadness I had felt for weeks came out. "And what about you, Finn?" I shouted. My voice was loud. "What about your secret calls? What about the woman in the cafe? Do people talk about that?" I felt tears in my eyes, but I was too angry to cry softly. I shouted about his long hours, about his distance, about my loneliness. Finn looked surprised at my words. He did not expect me to talk about his own secrets. He started to shout back. We stood in the living room, shouting at each other. It was a very big fight. Words came out that we could not take back. I felt it was so unfair. He was angry at me, but he did not see his own part. He did not see how his actions had pushed me away. The air in the room was heavy with our anger. I felt like our marriage was breaking into many small pieces. 6. The truth comes out. The big fight was over, but the air in our house was still heavy. I felt angry and sad. Finn went to bed, and I stayed in the living room for a long time. I thought about everything. I thought about Finn and the woman at the cafe. I thought about Julian and our time in the park. My heart felt very heavy. The next morning, Finn and I did not talk much. We ate breakfast in silence. I knew I had to say something. I could not live like this anymore. After breakfast, Finn stood up to go to work. I stopped him. "Finn," I said, my voice shaking a little. "I need to ask you something important." He looked at me. His face was tired. "What is it, Aubrey?" he asked. "Are you in love with that woman?" I asked directly. My heart beat fast. I waited for his answer. Finn looked surprised. He stood still. Then he sighed deeply. "No, Aubrey," he said slowly. "She is not my lover. She is a business partner. We work on a big project together. We met at the cafe to talk about work. It looked bad, I know. I am sorry I did not tell you. I wanted it to be a surprise." His words made me feel a little better, but also confused. He was not seeing another woman, but he had kept a big secret from me, and I had kept a big secret from him too. Now it was my turn to speak the truth. "I also have something to tell you, Finn," I said. My hands were cold. "You asked me where I was when I was not home. I told you I was with my cousin, but that was not true." Finn looked at me carefully. "Where were you, Aubrey?" he asked. "I was with Julian," I said. "He is a man I met in the park. I was very lonely, Finn. You were always busy. You did not see me." Julian listened to me. He made me laugh. He was kind. I looked down at my hands. I did not plan to lie, but I felt trapped. I felt sad and alone. Finn did not say anything for a long time. He just stood there looking at me. His face showed no anger, only a deep sadness. The silence filled the room. It was a very long silence. I could hear my own breathing. I could hear the clock ticking on the wall. We stood far apart, not touching. The truth was out for both of us. All the secrets were now open. I looked at Finn, and he looked at me. There were no more words. I felt a cold wave wash over me. I thought, this is it. Our marriage is over. The big house felt even bigger and colder now. It felt empty, just like my heart had been for a long time. We had both hurt each other, not with hate, but with silence and secrets. Now, what would happen? I did not know. 7, making a choice. The silence was heavy in our big house. After our talk, many days passed. Finn went to work and I stayed home. We ate dinner, but we did not speak. We felt far apart. My heart was full of quiet sadness. Our home felt like just a house. During these quiet days, my mind was busy. I often thought about Julian. I remembered his kind smile and how he listened. He made me happy. When I was with him, I forgot my problems. He was a bright light in my lonely life. I could imagine laughing with him, feeling light again. But then my thoughts always returned to Finn. I remembered our past when we first met. We were young and full of dreams. We laughed a lot. We built this house together. I remembered his strong hands, his warm hugs, how he looked at me when we were in love. Even after the pain, I knew I still loved him. This feeling was old and deep, like tree roots. It was a part of me. I thought about the night we told each other the truth. We were both hurt. Finn looked sad when I spoke about Julian. I saw pain in his eyes. I felt pain when he admitted his secret meetings, even if the woman was only a business partner. We had both made mistakes. We had both been lonely. One evening, after many quiet dinners, Finn came home. He looked tired, but his eyes were soft. He sat next to me on the sofa. He did not turn on the television. This was unusual. He spoke quietly. "Aubrey," he said, "I do not want to lose you." My heart jumped. These were the words I had hoped to hear. "I know I made mistakes," he continued. "I was busy. I did not see your sadness. I did not give you my time. I am very sorry." I looked at him. His eyes were honest. It was like seeing the Finn I married, the Finn I loved for the first time in years. "And I made mistakes too," I said. "I should have told you I was lonely. I should not have hidden things." We talked for a long time that night. We talked about feeling alone. We talked about his work and my feelings. He understood why I met Julian and my need for someone to listen. We talked about new dreams and our future. It was not easy. Sometimes one of us cried, but we kept talking. For the first time in years, we were truly honest. We listened. We did not shout. We did not hide. We just spoke our hearts. The heavy silence in the house finally lifted. A small, new door had opened. 8. A new start. After many days of quiet thought and our honest talk, Finn and I made a big decision. We decided to try again. It was not easy, but we both felt it was right. We sat together one evening, just like in our early days. Finn looked at me. He said he understood my loneliness. He promised to give me more time and love. He wanted to be a good husband again. I listened carefully. I also promised him the same. I told him I would work hard too. We knew it would take time to fix everything, but we were ready to try. It felt like a new beginning for us. The next day, I knew I had to talk to Julian. It was a difficult conversation for me. I met him in the park, where we had spent many happy hours. I told him about my decision to stay with Finn. Julian understood. He was sad, but he was also kind. He said he wanted me to be happy. We thanked each other for the friendship. It was hard to say goodbye, but I knew it was necessary for my marriage. I walked home feeling a mix of sadness and hope. My friendship with Julian had helped me through a difficult time, but now I needed to focus on my husband. Slowly, Finn and I started to rebuild our marriage. We began to spend more time together. Finn came home earlier from work. We ate dinner together every night. We talked about our day. Sometimes we just sat quietly, holding hands. We went for walks in the park, just the two of us. We started to remember why we fell in love. We learned to listen to each other. Finn started to see my feelings, and I started to understand his work pressures better. There were still difficult days, but we faced them together. We learned to communicate openly. We shared our fears and our hopes. We laughed more often, and the heavy silence in our house slowly disappeared. Day by day, our relationship grew stronger. I was not the lonely wife anymore. The big house still felt big, but it felt full of love now. I felt seen and heard by my husband. I was a woman who was loved. My heart, which had been empty for so long, was finally full. It was finally home. This new start was not perfect, but it was real. We were building something new, stronger than before. We learned that love needs care and attention every day. We were both committed to making our marriage work. The future looked bright, filled with the promise of true partnership and happiness.